Yeah, yeah. I think one of my favorite stories, and I actually can't really say that any's my favorite because they're all so outstanding, but in addition to the refusal to quit, right? And that
Yep.
was definitely what triggered my response to that kernel. And I think I share that with every single leader that I had a chance to interview and talk to. But was the other example that I love to tell is the one of Shay Haber, and she is one of the first women Army Rangers, one of the first women to be an infantry commander. She's still serving. She's actually the commander of the Old Guard now, who helped to lay Ruth Bader Ginsburg in state. So you would have
Mhm.
seen a female
Right.
infantry officer there, and that's Shay.
That's her.
But she tells this story of going through incredibly difficult patrol, and it's in the middle of the woods at Ranger School, which is one of the most difficult military trainings. And she starts to think that she's hearing voices, that she's going crazy. It's the middle of the night. They're carrying heavy packs. They have no idea how long they're going to go. And she sits down by a tree and she thinks that's it. She's so far behind, and she's starting to lose it. And she reconnects to her core purpose. And for her, that meant the connection to other women that she had begun Ranger School with, to her family, to the soldiers that she knew that she was going to be supporting. And she reconnected to that concept of core purpose. I have a whole chapter in the book about this because this is so important. And with that reconnection, she was able to push herself back up to her feet. And then she started to run. And she runs and she runs and she runs. And the sun begins to come up over a hill in the middle of the woods where she is with her backpack running through the woods. And she sees the ranger instructor up on the top of that hill. And she realizes she's in front of everybody. But it was that reconnection to, in the midst of literally thinking she was going crazy. I mean, it was that physically and mentally impossible to do what she was doing. And that reconnection to core purpose allowed her to get back up and to come out ahead.
And that ties right back to where you started at the beginning about your own story, about controlling your narrative, not let somebody else define your story, own your story. And you've said a couple of times this sort of connecting to your core purpose. And I can imagine everybody listening to this right now is on edge of their seat saying, okay, how? So just to leave it to cliffhanger, this is a perfect time for a break. So with me today is Shannon Huffman Polson. She's the author of The Grit Factor: Courage, Resilience, and Leadership in the Most Male-Dominated Organization in the World. And she's the founder of the Grit Institute. I should also say her first book is called North of Hope: A Daughter's Arctic Journey. Now, as you've heard, Shannon was one of the first women to fly the Apache helicopter in the U.S. Army. She's gone on to do an awful lot of other very interesting things, including her MBA, and then leading in a number of very large corporations, including Boston Scientific and Microsoft Corporation. We're not going to tell stories about them specifically, but what we're going to do when we come back is to work a little bit through Shannon's model now of how she helps other people find their own level of grit, including their own center of purpose. And so with that, we'll be right back.